Okay, so hi again. This next video, a set of questions and answers, is about YouTube marketing and strategy. So if there's anything that kind of floats your boat here, you need help with ranking videos to #1, please subscribe, turn the notifications on, drop us some questions, and we'll get back to you. I hope you like what we're about to go through. So let's crack on. So this is about YouTube marketing and strategy. And the first question is, what is YouTube marketing?
Go, Simon.
Vince.
I go. So YouTube, I would even say, okay, on YouTube you have two main big areas. One is education, and the other one is entertainment. So inside education is solving people problems, tutorials, all this kind of stuff. And at entertainment, you've got like music, football videos, gamers. So inside those two areas, of course, you provide content that's valuable to your audience, and then you make sure this content is actually found. Because if it's not found, if you make great content but it's not found, it's the same as making shitty content that is found. It's going to be the same result, so no one will actually pay attention. So the first way, organic way, is make sure your videos are found to the top of the searches. And again, we can make this happen for you. If you're interested, click the link in the description to find out more. And then there is the paid way, which Simon can talk more about.
Yeah, so loads of brands are jumping on board with YouTube as an opportunity now for advertising, just for the fact that there's hundreds and hundreds of hours worth of footage uploaded by content creators on a minute-by-minute basis. The thing is, YouTube literally cannot be filled with content in terms of ads. So whereas if you look at Facebook, it's got a finite reach in terms of its user base and the space that's available within people's feeds. And I think we're all seeing there's more and more ads coming all the time in all of these types of platforms. But YouTube, there's that much content that you can still serve ads into your audience at a very, very low cost. So YouTube marketing, my issue with it is that there's a lot of brands out there that are taking what I would call a spray and pray approach, where they understand that if somebody skips within 30 seconds, they don't pay. So they're choosing an enormously broad audience and just seeing where those conversions come from. We'd rather say, in terms of YouTube marketing, you pick where your demographic and your keywords and your competitors' visits and placements, all of these things and topics overlay with each other. And that's where you place your ads, because one, your costs are lower, but your conversions are more guaranteed. And on channel, you get better engagement. And I know this is something that Vince talks about massively in terms of ranking videos at the top of YouTube search, is the engagement and watch time. And if you don't get the audience right, you're not going to get people to stick. So YouTube marketing, ads plus organic. Yeah.
Okay. I'm just going to add in here for people looking. Some of these questions that we're going to go through today might seem similar, but we will try and answer them because there might be some nuances. So the second question is, how do I use YouTube marketing?
Well, if we let's keep this one short and sweet. YouTube marketing, come and talk to someone like us, or an agency that's got a reputation for producing results. We'll be able to rank you and we'll be able to push your ad. So even if you just give us, subscribe to the channel, you'll see lots of different videos that we put out regularly. But talk to us. We're here. Just we'll give you all the advice you need, however big or small or brand you are.
The next one is YouTube good for marketing? I'll throw my hat in on this one. The simple answer is yes. The danger that most brands and most people have is that they silo the thinking. They think there's a silver bullet, that is one channel, that is one way of getting to the market. In my experience, and many years going, 30 years, and with all the whole team as well, don't think in silos. The reason YouTube is really, really good for marketing and businesses is, particularly YouTube first strategy, is that it allows you to get in front of customers, raise awareness, generate great ROI, get lots of click-throughs, all these things that we've talked about in the videos. And as part of the wider marketing mix, it simply delivers the best bang for the bucks of any channel online and offline at the moment. So yeah, it's really, really good for marketing.
And people are paying attention.
Yeah.
That's the real difference. You know, they TV, if you're on TV ads, it's on, it's in the room. You don't necessarily know who's watching or whether they are watching. Whereas YouTube, it's described as lean in. You know, people are actually paying attention, leaning in, looking at the content. So yeah, that's one of the bigger benefits.
Yeah, I think just to add as well, the whole landscape of how we consume advertising, media and messages has changed over this last decade. And we're watching more and more video, we're watching it on mobiles, and YouTube is it's the best place one for consuming that media, and you're catching people who are interested in what you're talking about. So it is absolutely phenomenal. We'll move on to one of the other questions here. How do I use YouTube marketing for my business? And I think, Simon, it's similar to what you said before.
It's an omni-channel approach, and to actually use it for the top end of your funnel for awareness is where it's killing it at the moment. You know, to get in front of that many people for that lower cost, and then measure. And one of the things I talk about as an ex-accountant is conversion. You know, we actually can now truly measure end-to-end a campaign conversion and the cost per conversion. So you can then truly scale campaigns and understand that if I put X in, I will get Y out, and you know, and that's pretty predictable. So you can then build that into cash flow forecasts, plan forward with stock, all of those sort of things. But it's great. But don't forget that it is an omni-channel approach, and you need to be tying that into all of your other social channels.
Yeah. And if I could provide like a framework for how to use YouTube marketing, I would say there are 4 steps. Number 1 is identify your avatar, your target market, the people you want to attract. Number 2 is making videos that are relevant for those people. Again, we talked about message to market match. And then number 3 is doing videos to rank organically. And then number 4 is doing videos to run ads with. So if you follow those 4 steps, and of course, then again, you support this, if we can add a 5th step with a multi-channel approach or remarketing on other platforms, then your success could be like guaranteed.
And just to add there, I think this is one of the advantages of working with an agency like ours, although a media partner like ourselves, is that Vince has just said it there. The most important thing, and it's been said for years and years and years, there's nothing new in this, but people forget about it, is understanding your customer is the single most important thing that you need to do with anything before you start anything, because they're the ones who you're going to live or die by them. So always understand your customer.
And before you go on, Andy, one of the things that I think that's becoming new in sort of the SEO industry is we have been offering people the opportunity to rank their videos at the top of YouTube search before we charge them. You know, we've offered people that opportunity to do that with one video and prove what we can do and show that it works. And you can't do that in SEO. You know, nobody's going to say we'll rank you for a competitive keyword, you know, on the first page, or let alone on the first page in the top 3 results, and then charge you, because it could take months and months worth of work. And the stuff that Vince has brought, you know, from his business and the way that he works, that you can rank within a day, like sometimes within hours, at the top of YouTube, and have results there and then. You know, that's changing the whole world of marketing.
Yeah, absolutely. And that takes us nicely on to the next question. Is YouTube effective for marketing? And I'm just going to throw a little thing in here, and this is a little story from a conversation with a potential new client. And during that call, we were with a traditional media buyer who's part of the wider team. He runs a traditional media buying agency. We run YouTube and digital. And, you know, he was talking about TV and sponsorships and how to out of home. And one of the things he even realized, coming from that traditional background, he said to the client on the call, and this was brilliant, said the great thing with these guys at S Media and the YouTube thing is, you as a client are going to learn so much more about your customers through the data than you'll ever know previously. And that actually helps me in terms of understanding the customer habits and who they are even more, so that when I then do come back to you with out of home proposals, bus shelters, whatever it may be, and even some TV and sponsorships, we'll understand who the sweet spot customer is more through doing these kind of campaigns. So, you know, is YouTube effective for marketing? Absolutely, because it actually helps in a much wider omni-channel approach in terms of, like I said, understanding customer base, what they're watching, what their habits, what are they like, what videos are they interested in, what things are they interested in. So it has a massive impact on everything else in a positive way.
I've got another. You'll remember, Andy, from last year, we were dealing with a cycling holiday business, and his perception was that his market were guys typically in their 40s, businessmen who've got disposable income, you know, because it was a more of an experiential holiday. You know, you go off, you have food, you cycle, you know, the cycling type club guys, right? But when we run the ads, he found out that it was actually a younger demographic, and it completely transformed all of his marketing going forwards, because it was a market sector that he hadn't even considered. So the going into a campaign with thinking you know what it is, it helps you discover new avenues for your customer base going forward, you know, and that's why it's so valuable.
Yeah. I'm going to move on to the next question, because I think we've kind of answered some of that, which is, what are the benefits of using YouTube? Well, we've answered some of those in terms of understanding your customer audience better, using that data to drive other decisions within your business. But I think it might be worth Simon just touching on some of the things that we're going through at the moment as a business, in not only ranking number 1 on Google and number 2 at the top, on YouTube, but also the benefits in terms of wider SEO, because there's some huge benefits to YouTube, isn't there, Simon?
Yeah, so look, Google has openly said that it wants to be predominantly video. And it said that 3 years ago. And it said by 2020, we would be mostly video. And the issue is, it hasn't achieved that yet. And that's because people aren't making enough video. I know we've talked about in some of these other videos, there are hundreds and hundreds of hours worth of video getting uploaded every minute to YouTube. And there are, but most of the content creators are people that are in it at the moment for trying to monetize their channels. And it's not business to business or business to consumer content, you know, ad worthy content or business content that's going out there. It's more educational or gaming and all that sort of stuff that's going up, right? But what we're finding is people putting the right content in front of the right people at the right time. It's making so much difference to their brand awareness and the traffic that they can get to their websites, that then leads on to, if we can rank a video at the top of YouTube for the right keywords, we are seeing these videos appearing in the top of normal organic Google results pretty much straight away. And going back to the SEO world, you can see that people in the SEO don't recommend video as a rule, because they don't want to see video SEO budget getting shifted over to video. Now, Google sees videos as such an important piece of the puzzle, because there's an example I use, which is best barbecue, right? Now, if I'm searching for the best barbecue, I'm 49 years old and I'm looking for a really, really top end barbecue. I don't mind spending probably a significant amount of money on it, but I'm going to do my research and I want to find, I'm not going to buy that barbecue off of a text-based listing. Yes, you know, I would have probably clicked on 3 or 4 or 5 ads, done research, all of that. Now I would go onto YouTube and watch videos around the different barbecues and people using them. Now, the reason I give that example is a 20-year-old guy who's probably, if you took me and took me back 20 years, I would not be looking for the same barbecue as I am now. And the reason I give that example is, if we both clicked on the same text-based listing, we would spend probably a similar amount of time reading, because it takes us time to digest what's on the page and look at the pictures. Whereas if you use video, Google is measuring exactly how long I am spending on that video and how long I look through it, and looking at the point at which I disengage from it and adding that data to my personal profile. Now, Google wants to go, as do Amazon and Apple and all these other guys. They all want to end up with voice search. So voice search is called AEO, answer engine optimization, and we'll end up there in, well, maybe this video is on our YouTube channel in 10 years time and somebody's laughing at me going, you know, you predicted it was going to be 10 years and it's still nowhere near, or it only took 3 years, right? But we will get there in 3, 5, 10, 20 years time to proper voice search. But the only way Google can achieve that is by measuring the engagement against questions that people are asking. So if I ask an answer engine, what's the best barbecue? And a 20-year-old asks, what's the best barbecue? At the point at which voice search works, we get different answers. And Google can't work out what that is at the moment. Neither can Apple or Amazon or any of these other guys. So video is the bridge. And it is absolutely the bridge between text-based search and answer engines. And that's why I know I've now ranted on for a couple of minutes, which, you know, but it is that important that you make videos that answer people's questions to come up in search.
Amazing.
Okay, thanks, Simon. So there's a very big benefit of using YouTube. Slightly longer answer than we were allowing for, but Simon does that on that subject. That's okay. Next question. I think this is a quick answer. Should I use a specialist YouTube ads agency?
I think they should use the specialist YouTube ads agency, right?
Well, here's the thing. We are a specialist YouTube media planning, targeting and buying partner. We're not like any normal agency. So we do things very, very differently to how agencies would approach, but we do understand wider marketing. My answer to it would be, if you've got the budget and you need the help, you absolutely need to use a specialist agency. If you try and do it on the cheap, you'll come a cropper, because it is complicated. There's a lot more to it than the first appears. It's a lot more complicated than just pressing a boost button on Facebook.
Yeah. Can I talk about the IDAR system for a second? Because we built that system 2 or 3 years ago, and it's ever developing. And that system, which is intelligence-driven ad results. We'd love to say it's AI, but it's essentially programmatic with human intelligence overlaid. But that system is continually adjusting people's campaigns. The issue with particularly the display network and YouTube is that your placements, there are trillions of, well, I don't know how many placements, billions, if not trillions of placements available. Google's going to serve your content into that ocean of content. And unless you know what you're doing, where you can place it properly to get the conversions, you can throw money away, right? And we were lucky enough to have clients over the years that have spent millions through our agency. We've been lucky to test, reiterate, learn, and look at the placement opportunities and optimize that system. So look, if someone wants to go in and run YouTube ads campaigns today, they can do it themselves off of their own Google Ads account, as Facebook agencies will be trying to do. But you will be wasting money if you don't deal with a specialist.
Yeah, okay. Thank you for that, Simon. Next question. Can I set up a YouTube marketing campaign myself? Go
on then, Andy. You can do that one.
Yeah, we can, but it's not easy. I've sat there with Simon, as who I call Neo from the Matrix, because that's what it's like he's going into in the back end of Google. And yes, of course, you can set things up yourself, but it takes perseverance, a little bit of work. I don't think the setting up is the problem. It's actually then the ongoing side of things that can get very complicated.
Well, the settings in terms of getting campaigns to run, we can all look. Google's objective, let's not forget, Google's objective is to get you to open your wallet and spend as much as you can, right? And you will get phone calls from Google's own team saying, well, why don't we try this and this and this? And just caveat that with the fact that their only objective is to get you to spend money, and as much money as possible. A prime example of that is within Google's setup, there is a conversion action called maximize conversions. Now, you would actually think, right, when I set my campaign up, I'll choose maximum conversions as my objective. Actually, that translates as please spend all of my budget. So Google, if you choose maximum conversions and you set it on £100 a day, it will spend £100 a day, but it won't maximize your conversions. What it will do is maximize the opportunity to show your ads, but are you showing it to the right audience? So there's hundreds. I've been working on Google for 20 years and I still don't understand probably half of it. Anybody who says they understand it all, frankly, must be an idiot. You know, there's no one that understands it all. But understanding the way it works and the way to tweak campaigns is massively important, because you've got to let it learn. And the biggest thing, like Andy and I's book is coming out hopefully towards the end of April, May this year. And we talk a lot in there about patience and not tinkering. Like, tinkering is the death of all these campaigns where, and if you're a Facebook advertiser, you will know this. You know, you go in and you start adjusting things, or you start looking at your campaigns on an hour by hour basis, expecting things to happen and trying to force it, trying to get it to, you're trying to take control and wrangle this massive beast of Google. You can't do that. You need to let it learn, be patient. Yeah, I think I've probably gone on a bit too long.
Yeah. Thank you, Simon. Yeah, again, it's all right. I mean, there's so many things around this whole subject that, you know, we can cover. So we'll move on to the next question. Why don't many people use YouTube advertising yet?
Yeah,
I think more of it.
Yeah, just a short answer to this. I think for two main reasons. I think people are just more focused on Facebook as of now, just because in the last years, Facebook has been like the predominant platform. So for this, and then also I would say it's more difficult to run ads on YouTube in terms of you need to do videos, and not everyone is willing to do videos. On Facebook, you can just do an image with some text and you have an ad up running. On YouTube, you need to do videos. And again, we talk in other videos how to structure the videos and then the targeting and all this stuff. But yeah, this would be, I think, the main reason why. I don't know if Simon has something else.
Yeah, the barrier to entry is making the video in the first place, but also those that do go on to use it, they're often trying it themselves, or they don't have the experience to get it to convert or the patience. And there's loads of people that have tried it and got nothing out of it. And they think, therefore, first go, oh, it didn't work. Right. And they've walked away. Whereas if you structure it, the ads correctly, you get the hooks correct, the calls to action, your audience, all of these things, you still require the patience and the budget. And it's not Facebook in that you can't go and press, I want to boost it to X number of people and I get X result. It needs time. And it needs people with budget and conviction and a plan and a strategy. So, but all of that said, the opportunity is enormous, because with not everybody using it, it's like virgin ground. There's so much opportunity still.
Yeah, just two things very quickly there. The barrier to entry being mainly producing the video, it's a misconception. It's much easier than people think. And we've talked on lots of videos about how to do that. And secondly, YouTube is a proper advertising platform. Facebook kind of feels like a bit of a cheat with the boost. And therefore, it takes proper marketers who understand how to build campaigns and manage those campaigns. But the results are far superior. You get out what you put in, end of. And YouTube is a proper marketing platform, where some of the others, the social channels that have been shoehorned with marketing in, and I think YouTube's just a much better platform for marketing, full stop. So it needs doing properly. Moving on, how is YouTube advertising going to affect the marketing industry this year?
Well, I think we're going to see an enormous shift. You know, once people understand that they can rank video quickly and that Google will give you the opportunity to put your content at the top of search straight away, for the fact that they want to test that content, and then the good content will sit at the top. We were talking to a creative agency yesterday, one of the bigger creative agencies in the north of England, and their creative director said, this is exactly what I'm looking for. Because yes, everybody's content will have a chance. You've all got a chance at the top spot. but then it's down to how good that content is. And if that content is great and engaging, people watch it, you will, one, get orders, you'll get engagement, you'll get people coming through, liking, subscribers, everything will come to you if you do it properly. And that's the shift that's going to happen in marketing, when people really grasp the fact that they can one, rank video at the top straight away within 24 hours, and then they can maintain its position and drive conversions using ads.
Yeah. And I think to prove the point that it is actually starting to move is that we're getting some inbound calls. We've got about 16 proposals out in January alone, globally, for brands wanting to go on YouTube, because they're starting to see the benefits of it, and they're starting to hear from people. So it is absolutely going to change the way people are approaching things this year.
And just to add to that, we are hearing more and more and more from marketing departments that they are being tasked with the lead generation and producing an ROI. And as we know, the whole marketing industry is changing and shifting away from agencies. A lot of in-house resources being lost, through the collapse of markets. But when that gets all reinvented, people will be looking for the new channels that they can use, and at the top of that will be YouTube.
Yeah. Okay, next question. Are lots of businesses moving from Facebook to YouTube advertising?
I'd say the honest answer is probably no, in that lots of them don't really still understand the opportunity that exists.
Yeah.
And I would say if you're watching this and you want to learn more, please do subscribe to our channel, hit the notification, and there's tons of content that we've got here and on the website that you can consume and learn. And we're always here for advice. But there are lots of businesses moving, if you want to, use that term. There are lots of the brands realizing that it's an opportunity. I just don't think there's enough actually grasping the opportunity. They see it. They need to be convinced. So I think we'll see that shift. If you look at the US market, where we do a lot, there's a lot more brands over there that are going straight into YouTube. They've already got it, but you would say they're probably a year or two ahead of the UK. Mm-hmm. I don't know what's happening. Are you seeing that in Italy, Vince?
We are probably 5 years behind the UK, so that's going to happen even later. But I think what people maybe don't know is that on YouTube, you only pay if people watch past 30 seconds. So you get like massive brand awareness for free.
Yeah.
And on Facebook, it's not like that. So obviously, if you have a business, if you're just doing Facebook, you need to move as soon as possible, get this competitive advantage. How do you say, when you like the first mover advantage, because you're going to reap big benefits if you do it now.
Okay, great. Yeah, good stuff there. So the final question, and I think I'll chip in on this to start with. It's a bit of an odd question, really, that people are asking here, because I don't really make sense of it. But YouTube marketing and advertising strategy, who's the best? That's a really crap question.
Out of me and you.
Sorry?
Out of me and you.
Well, the thing is, if I'm writing a marketing strategy with different advertising tactics within that, YouTube is going to be part of that. It's not uniquely one or the other is better. Essentially, it's YouTube should be part of the wider omni-channel approach in terms of your marketing and advertising strategy. End of.
And just to clarify why that is such a strange question, YouTube marketing and advertising strategy, who's the best? All of these questions that we've answered in this video are questions that people are typing into Google. So if you go to Google and you search YouTube marketing and advertising strategy, and you scroll down to the section that says people also ask, you will see questions. Google is obviously recording every single question people type in. And look, I'll be honest, I sometimes sit on my keyboard and I'll type in an absolutely horrendous question, because at some point somebody is going to see that question, or somebody at the other end is reading that and trying to transpose an answer that goes on the back of it, right? But it's like when if the kids get hold of Siri and they start asking Siri ridiculous questions, right? All of that data is being recorded into the back end of the algorithm. And once these questions come up in search, this is the opportunity. I cannot impress on people enough the opportunity that exists to answer questions that people are asking in a video format. So who's the best? I'd like to say we're one of the best. There are many agencies across the globe that are, and we are partnering with a lot of them. You know, in the YouTube marketing space, we are trying to create a network of the best in YouTube across the globe. And if you're listening to this and you're watching our video this far through and you are one of those, please do get in touch. But who's the best? Those that are able to get the conversions and make it consistently work.